All right, in our last video, we just set this up. The next thing we have to do is create some layers that we're going to work on. If you have layers within your document, then you can change various parts and move the order so we can put things on top of one another or show and hide layers to see what could look like with different things turned on and off. So layers are really, really important. So if you have this palette open to the side, you just click on layers and open that up. If you don't see that for any reason, then if you just go to window at the top and you pick layers, you'll get your layers palette. So there's always different ways to get your palettes open. Then you'll just see by default layer 1, so we only have one layer to work with. If I double click that, you'll see I can rename that, and I'm going to call this first layer background and click OK. So that's my first layer. Then I'm going to go ahead and get all of my layers set up, and if you go to the top, the little dot 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 in the top right, and then just click new layer. And this next layer that we're going to make is going to be called pattern. And then the next layer, so again up in the top corner, new layer, and we'll call this one type behind. Another layer, this one will be called circle. And our final layer is going to be called type in front. And we'll get to see what those various layers are going to represent, but I'll just show you a version of the final document that we're going to create. And as you can see, we're going to have our background, and then we're going to have the pattern. So that's the triangles. We're going to have the type behind, so that's like the C and the B, that's sitting behind. We'll have the circle layer, and then we'll have the type in front, which is going to be the U and the L. So our overall design is going to look like that, and we're going to put different elements on different layers. So on yours now you should have background, pattern, type behind, circle, type in front. And you can see over to the side that we've got these little eyes, and if we had anything on them, you can use the eye, just click it on and off, and that will turn the visibility of the layer on and off so you can see what you're working with. The other thing you'll notice, if you click in the little square, you'll have a lock and unlock, and it's always a good idea to lock the layers that you're not working on, so that way you're ensuring that you're putting additional elements just on the correct layer. So we'll be working through those in just a moment. So we have our layers all set up, and then we're going to lock all the layers except for the bottom one, except for the background, because that's the only one we want to work on. And we click on it and you notice it's highlighted, and so that's the layer that we're actually working on, our background layer. The next thing we're going to do is create some color swatches. So we'll use that to create that sort of neon pastel gradient background. And first of all, we have to have the right colors. So if you click on the, if we see the color and the swatches palette, so we see swatches. Again, if you don't see this over to the side, just go to window and go, and then you can pick color and swatches, and that will bring that up. So window, color, swatches. So here are the default swatches that it comes with, color swatches, and then we can mix and create our own custom ones. So again, same, we go to that top drop down in the right, and we're going to say a new color swatch. And here, what we want to do is we're going to, well, if we untick this first of all so that we can name it, and this first one is going to be called Neon Mint. That's going to be our color. We'll set the type to process, and we can use RGB or CMYK. Here we're going to go ahead and just pick RGB, which is red, green, and blue, and that's mixing the red, green, and blue colors to make a certain tints, which you may remember we looked at that a little bit last year. So here we need 140 value of the red, 249 of the green, and 208 of the blue. And if you notice, that should create, when we hit add, sort of a neon-y mint color. So we hit add, and then we'll go ahead and create our other colors. So for this, you can follow along with me. This is also in the link that I've put. The next one will be blue, and the value of that will be 61, 177, 252, and then we'll hit add, so we can go on to our next one, and our next one will be pastel pink. Need to put the A in the name. So pastel pink, and the values for that, 250, 200, and 253, and then add. Now, if you notice, while we're adding these, just so that you understand, you can see over here to the side, we're getting these new color swatches. So when you're creating them, then we can reuse them all throughout the design, and we don't have to go and try to, guess at a color or mix them every single time. So we set up our colors and then we can reuse them over and over. So the next color we need is rose, and that one is 244, 136, and it's 170 for the blue. We'll next go to neon lime with a value of values of 145, 255, and 142. We need purple, and that one will have values of 110, 89, and 190. And neon pink with values of 255, 84, 232, 232. Almost there. We need a pastel lime, and that one is made up of values 234, 247, and 201. And neon yellow with values of 248, 255, 81. And our final color is deep rose, and that will have values of 240, 88, and 71. So you'll see now that we have all of those set up and we can reuse them. The next step, we're still on our background layer, but the swatches can be used in any layer, is we're going to make a gradient swatch. So that's where we're going to be able to make the colors do a blend. So this time we're going to use our colors that we made to blend a gradient. So we go up to the new swatch and we say new gradient swatch, and we'll call this one gradient map 1. Linear gradient, so there's radial going out like in circular pattern or linear, but we'll leave ours at linear. And then we're going to pick our colors that we want to use from this little gradient ramp, our little stoppers. So the first thing that we want to pick on the bottom, so we click there, and if we change that to swatches so we can see all the swatches that we just made, we're going to start that one with our neon lime, and we are going to end that one with the purple that we made. So we've got that sort of a linear gradient. And then what we're going to do is we can add more colors into there. So just if you hover along the bottom and click, you'll notice you can add another stopper. So we're going to add another 2 stops on our gradient, and then we can switch the colors in there. So I'm going to click on that one, and remember we just want to go back to our swatches, and for that we'll make our other swatches neon pink, pastel lime, and neon yellow. So here we'll pick that one, neon pink. For the next one, we'll use our pastel lime, and then for the next one, we'll change that one to the neon yellow that we made. Now we've got that sort of gradient of all different colors, and you can move those around. Just try to get them so they're just about equal spacing. And then we'll hit add, and done. So we have our gradient map ready to go. All right, now we're ready to use those colors that we've made to start creating some things on our background layer. So again, check your layers, make sure you're on your background layer. On your swatches, just select the color purple. Over to the side, select the rectangle tool. And if it doesn't show a rectangle, you can click and hold on the little black bottom triangle and then change that to your rectangle tool. Also down here, make sure that your fill color is in front and it looks like it's purple. And if it's not, just click the little swap arrow so that's in the front. And then click and drag, just click and hold and drag your mouse and create a rectangle that goes all the way around and into the bleed. And that should fill in with the color purple. Then we are going to set the opacity of that. We're going to make that semi-transparent. So go up into your object menu and go into effects and transparency. And we're going to set the opacity, so that's how see-through something is. We're going to set that down to 10%. So we've just got a light purple shading in the background.